Hello chess lovers and welcome to another chess episode. I am back. Suren is back after a long break and I have missed you a lot. I have missed this chessboard, this commentary, this editing process, and we'll do this work now with doubled enthusiasm. As you know, I am also guiding tourists in Armenia. I have a small business. You can check out my website armenianexplorer.com. And that's why I was away, was really very busy, it was a busy season, that's why didn't upload any chess videos for a long time. But now I'm back, and in winter, since I won't have some tour orders, will mainly dedicate my time to making chess videos. Here we have it, the most beautiful position, so many opportunities here. And we will analyze Game 3 of 2024 FIDE World Championship match. The candidate Gukesh is playing against Chinese chess grandmaster world chess champion Ding Liren. After 2 games, Ding Liren was leading the match. He won the first game, drew the second, and now we have Game 3 and the candidate kicked up with d4. Ding Liren's answer was Knight f6. Knight f3, d5, c4, we have Queen's Gambit declined, this exchange variation, Knight c3, c6, Queen c2, taking under control the f5 square, making it hard for this bishop to develop. The most popular alternative here is bishop g5, but we have Queen c2, and at all costs Black wants to go for bishop a5. h3 was White's answer, and still let me tell you that bishop g5 remains the most popular choice. But this is a world championship match and the players want to deviate from the main theory as soon as possible, revealing their home preparations, trying to surprise their opponents. Bishop f5 was met with queen b3 and Ding Liren offered the exchange of queens. There comes g4. Earlier this position had been seen in 2023 2 times in games of Kramnik, at least at that level. Kramnik-Nepo game comes to mind, where Nepo played Nepomniachtchi played bishop e6, but in our game Black went for an exchange of queens, and this is something which Arjun Erigaisi made against Kramnik again in 2023. A takes b3, bishop c2, coming after the pawn on b3, but Black has to be careful with this bishop when intruding inside enemy's territory. h5 undermining White's kingside pawn structure. Why not bishop takes b3? Then White can play knight d2, and if bishop c4 then takes e3, and then after winning back the sacrificed pawn, White is really getting a very nice position. Double bishop pair, semi-open h-file, really pleasant position for White, and that's why Ding played h5, definitely a better choice of course. Let these doubled pawns remain on the b file. Rook g1 takes, knight bd7. It took Ding Liren more than 33 minutes to make this move. He is burning a lot of time on seemingly simple positions, guys, and he will get punished for thinking that much in this game. Well, what's wrong with bishop takes b3? Then again knight d2, and then takes e4. Not really pleasant position for Black. That's why leave this pawn on b3, don't capture. Knight bd7, good move. Knight goes to d2, rook g8. Black wants to go for g5, and at the same time have a free diagonal for the bishop. There comes g5, White himself is occupying that square, and then Black rook is returning to the open h-file. f3, White is preparing e4, and knight g7. Hitting on h2, bishop goes back to g3, rook h5. This is a dubious move. It took Ding Liren to make this move 4 minutes, but better is move away the bishop from this awkward square to safety, back to safety, retreat. If e4, then bishop e6, a very solid way of playing, but instead we have rook h5, and the problem with this rook h5 is that now this Black's light squared bishop is finding itself in enemy territory and will face huge problems. D takes e4. Another dubious move. Well, I know that you have missed dubious, but d takes e4 is really dubious. And the move is actually knight e6. If rook c1, this line involves a piece sacrifice and is very difficult to find, but turns out that this was the only way of surviving. If here, then bishop d3, a very strong move. If takes, then check, rook g1. Well, if bishop f1, then knight e5, hitting both on f3, on d3 as well. If here, then check. Yeah, and if rook g1, then rook here, knight d1, bishop b4. Black is now a full piece down, but turns out that black has a counterplay. Knight f3 is the threat. Then comes knight c5, really a complex position, very piled up pieces, very difficult to calculate all this, but this is how black could equalize, and we have more or less an equality on the board. So, against two pieces, black has a rook, right? But instead we have d takes e4, and now let's see what's the problem with it. Knight goes to e6, rook c1. The bishop is trapped. Knight takes d4, but now comes bishop f4. We will remove the defender and the bishop will be lost. Bishop g7, knight e2. And now if knight e2, then bishop e2. And these guys are hanging. Knight takes b3. Rook takes c2. Knight d2, king takes d2, and against the piece black now has only 2 pawns. And Gukesh D very confidently realized the advantage. Rook goes to h2, bishop g2, a6, moving away the pawn from that vulnerable diagonal, b3, rook d7, rook cc1, cc catch. Do you know that group? They had really some nice songs. Rook cd1, king e8. So Liren was under a terrible time trouble, was in a serious time trouble, and he was like trying to gain some extra moves in order to complete the time control 41 rule and gain extra time, but there is no time for it. Liren, on moves like knight d7, you spend so many minutes, and now you are going to pay a high price for it. King takes f3, bishop d4. If rook g5, then rook d7. Yeah, obviously with bishop d4, Liren tried to avoid further simplifications, keep as many pieces on the board as possible. Black can't save this position. I doubt that's what can happen in case of rook takes g5. We have bishop d4, rook h1, rook takes g5, bishop h3, f5, bishop f4. So many pins I can see in this game. Rook h5, and you know what happened here? Liren made this move. His rook fell on the board and he lost on time. But anyways, his position is lost because white can simply grab this guy. If here, check, takes, and white has an extra rook and a completely winning position. The engine might even show checkmate in, I don't know, 20 moves, who knows. Let us know in the comment section, what do you think? If Liren keeps on playing like this, he will lose the crown, that's for sure. Of course, he was playing like this against Nepo as well, but Liren, you have to do something, man, otherwise China is going to lose the crown. What's happening with Liren? Does anyone know? Congrats to Gukesh D and to his big fans. He has millions of fans throughout the world, especially in India. India is now celebrating Gukesh D's victory, and yeah, he's equalizing the score after 3 rounds. Let's see what's going to happen in the upcoming 11 rounds remained. Looks like that. See you in my next video. Take care.